My name is Tawah Chrissy meaning Christmas. Born in Atuokom. My father, Tawan de Azar, and my mother, Alia Suzanne Atangso. After about 2 years, I was taken to Boya. My uncle took me to Boya. I was there for a number of years. It was a very interesting and very challenging time in my life. For instance, we had problems of food in the house. And my cousins were in Limbe, in Victoria at the time. They used to come up to Boya. And for some strange reason, even though we had enough food in the house, when food was shared, I was given very little, not enough to fill my stomach. And when I asked for more, I was shouted at, and in a number of cases beaten up. So after a number of years later on, I was brought up to Bamenda, and it was then that I met my biological parents. I had gone away too young to know them. So when I met my biological parents at that time, it was pretty interesting, because the first day they brought, my father sent a big bowl of rice, and in those days, rice was quite something. We are talking of 59 here. So they brought a big bowl of rice with a full chicken inside. And when I was told that was my food, I should open. When I opened and I saw what was inside, I thought it was a trick to have me beaten, so I threw it and ran out. So it took quite some persuading for me to realize that it was genuine. And I came and I shared that with my cousins, and that's how I rejoined my family here. Went through primary school in Nazareth, sold firewood. My father was not a rich man, but he was not a beggar, not a beggar. I sold firewood up to Form 3 in secondary school. And where did I go to secondary school? It was in those days Collège Bilingue d'Application. Now Lycée Bilingue d'Application in Yaoundé. And let me assure you that in our time, those who were admitted and sent to the government bilingual schools were among the top 70 in West Cameroon in those days. 35 went to Boya, 35 went to Yaoundé. So I wasn't particularly a dull child. That's how I went to secondary school. We're living in Lycée Leclerc. In fact, His Excellency Grégoire Wona was my dormitory prefect. He was in Premier while I was in Sixième in Form 1. And Emmanuel Vey, the team captain, became a few years later on. I think when we were in Form 3, he was Form 4, and particularly Form 5. He was the maître intendant in charge of surveillant général chargé de l'internat in Lycée Leclerc. Going through Lycée Leclerc, went to Boya, did instead of 2 years in Lycée Bilingue in Boya, I did 1 year of high school, went back to Yaoundé, did a degree in law and private law, Anglophone private law. After that, I went to Eric. I left Eric. I was not a bad student in Eric. In fact, I was among the top 5% of the school. And after that, I worked in the ministry, worked in Germany, worked in the UK, worked in the US, and in the ministry a number of times. Indeed, while in the UK, we had an association of African diplomats. I was Secretary General. Later on, I became the president of the association. We got into this business thanks to Micro Malo. They pushed us in, and I'm very, very grateful to the Director General of Micro Malo, Professor Melo. She pushed me into it and pushed me and pushed me. And here we are. So we are very, very grateful to Mipro Malo. I am personally indebted to her. We harvest clay from different sources, beyond the Fronts Palace and other places, and bring them here. Different types of clays, and we combine them. This mixture being done now is predominantly for 5 clay bricks, solid bricks, for construction, solid because they are used for the construction of houses. You use them the same way as you use cement blocks. And we now, when they are put this way, they now mold them and keep them to dry up, and after that they are fired. If you look behind me there is a small oven. At the time we got into the business and built that oven, that was the largest oven in this town. To your right here is another machine which is used for, it's about the same principle with this one, but it works on the principle of grinding the clay. So this other machine, we got it through Mipro Malo. It was one of their very old machines which they had scrapped. But when we came and we found use for it, and we got that, and we're using it here for mixing clay for more finer products, particularly the fired clay tiles. Those are products that tell you a story about themselves, about the owner, without you seeing or meeting the owner. And those products, those artistic and cultural products, are patent right protected. We showed you the certificate since 2010. The African Intellectual Property Organization, we contacted them, and those are protected, and therefore they are unique to Aurora. So we come into the business to put out products that are uniquely Cameroonian, and to put out things that make each and every one of us very proud to belong to this country, very proud to go into local building material and to use them. Now this is local and it is quality. What do we want? This is the Ministry of Tourism, and this is the best way to attract tourists, to let them see what we produce, what is local. They don't come here to see what is available in Europe or what is available in other countries. They come to see what we're able to do, and this is one of them. Here, as permanent employees, we have around 12. But when we have a high demand, we go up to 30, 40, sometimes 50. It's all a question of what is the demand at a given time. The more important thing, if Cameroonians were to help themselves, is to consume their own products.
Mr. Tawah, as you rightly said, is one of the real estate developers that we have here in the Northwest. And alongside with our ministry, because you know the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has embarked on the process of building social houses for the citizens of Cameroon. And this, as a public body, cannot do it single-handedly. So individuals who are viable to do this exercise, they equally do carry out such constructions, so that either you as an individual can buy what he has already constructed or can hire and stay there.
I've used tiles before, like in my residence. The tiles fall off, but these ones, first, they are beautiful. The designs on them are attractive, and they portray some of the things. Like this one, you see that there's a handshake on it. Yeah, and then these are burnt bricks. They are burnt, so they'll be here like for almost forever. I've seen that they are well polished, they are beautiful, they are bright, they are attractive. It actually makes the difference. You know, I did not also like to go for things that are just too common. But this one's being natural, you know, and again, my brother-in-law is doing it, and I've been there to see how he does them really good. He takes his time to burn them, get good clay, and this school has been here like for 8 years, since we had this thing on, not even one, as you can see for yourself.
This building would continue to look like this for the next 100 years, which is not the case with the ceramic tiles which people are putting in town. You see sometimes they fall off, they don't adhere very well, and they don't have the aesthetic beauty that these tiles have.
This is the palace. It is made for anybody who can buy and build. But it is necessary that charity begins at home. He must first show the work he can do at the palace. And so we wouldn't like such a beautiful decorative building to go around the village without starting at the palace. It's available here. Building material is local.
My wife, Regina, I met her in 1980, 81. And it was an accident, a well-organized accident of history. And my sister-in-law, Grace Ningo, they were childhood friends in secondary school. So Grace was married to my cousin and a very close Mr. Ningo, a very close man to me. In the process, I went to visit them and I met this lady. And I think that was a planned act. But I have no reason, have no evidence to know that Grace purposely organized this get-together. So I met her and cornered her and knew where she was doing a holiday job at the time.
It's been a good life when you take two people from two different backgrounds who are adults. Of course, they are areas of disagreement, but the important thing, which I think we've kept up, is how you settle disagreements. And of course, it's been agreeable. We agree well after disagreeing to agree, yeah, which is normal. So given that we are human beings, and as a family, we try to communicate. And I think that has kept us going smoothly for the many years we've been husband and wife. We have been married for 33 years, blessed with many children. We have 6 children.
I'm a retired diplomat, minister plenipotentiary in my country. Having moved around the world and seen some of these products, when I looked at them, I came in and did my first son, came here and worked with me for a while. He's now a senior executive in one of the companies in the United States.
He is somebody who can work around the clock. He doesn't get tired. And he pushes everybody around him to work hard, if not harder. And I know I always worked hard, but I think if I married somebody who was laid back, not working hard, maybe I would have become more laid back myself. But he is that energy that keeps going. Even when you say you are tired, he is there pushing you. He is the type of father who knows when to be very serious and when to joke. So, and the children soon get to know. If it is time for the little ones who want to play with him and roll on the floor, he goes down to the floor and he plays and jokes with them on the floor. But when that time is over and it's time for serious work, he gets up and says, hey, now it's time to be serious. Let's do this. So that's basically, he interacts with them at every level, the young and the older ones. So many of them now, they're all adults.
He helps both internally, externally. The handicap, most of the handicap, every morning you see, we usually give them money to keep them up, help them in whatever thing they want to do. Some opening businesses like call box, he's the one, poetry, and just to name a few. The main thing is my education. Without him, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I'm doing the PhD now. Because of him, I take him as my mentor, my father, my everything, a role model. I want to be like him because academically he loves people who go to school. He wants everybody to be like him, upright, and he doesn't like wayward people. So with that, I'll always remember him for that.
Darling, it's time you keep up with the things you are doing. They're wonderful. They're helping a lot of people, but you need to find some time for rest. You need to rest. At least it is important for your health and your well-being.
Well, all good things must begin from the palace. It's a great achievement. It should spread throughout the fandom. So it's a great achievement for him who has brought this. And the palace is #1 place, the first place in Mancom. It must be here.
You hardly find any of my sisters or brothers where you know have a couple of university graduates thanks to working together as a team. And even in the rest of, the rest of the country, we push a few people here and there because, as I said, but for my cousins, sacrificing their lives, selling coconut and other things to make sure I'm alive. But for the neighbors whom I don't know, calling me behind and feeding me in the privacy of their homes while watching out for my uncle and the wife. But for some of these things, I may not be alive today. So I take it that if God blesses you, share it out. Try to see if you can be a blessing to other people. And we try that. But there are many other people too that who have failed. We are not perfect. There are many errors that I've committed. I'm only a simple human being. For those whom I've wronged, I beg for your forgiveness. For those who work rightly with, please, let's continue. I'm a Christian, not an angel. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of shortcomings, very many. But I'm a Christian. And I believe, and I pray to God that He will forgive my sins, so that by the time I die, or even now, He forgive my sins, so I find my way into heaven. Having said that, I was baptized, and both in Germany and elsewhere. Indeed, there's an organization here that is here, which is a branch of Campus Crusade for Christ International, which is present in all the state universities, preaching the word of God. I helped to, that organization came into Cameroon through me, and the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon is hosting that organization, hosting it by giving it legal cover. Thanks to my relationship with the then moderator, late Awasom, and the then synod clerk, who became later on the moderator, Nyasako Nko, whom I consider as my dear friend, my dear senior brother. Thanks to these two people, that organization is now present in our universities and witnessing to our students. If you love Cameroon, put the lion on your wall. If you are friendly, give a handshake, put that on your wall. And then the tourists, when they live in the hotels, they go around to ask questions. What does it mean? You explain. You see the lizard, you see the cowries. They have significance in our palaces. And indeed, go to the front of Mankon's palace. Look at how it's decorated. There are a number of palaces in the northwest that have been decorated with it. Some in the western region as well. What if a number of our public buildings too were done with that, just like the Ministry of Tourism is done, just like health is done, just like others can step in? You will see a woman carrying a baby on the back. What if our hospitals had that in the maternity section? What do you tell? Just by looking at that, it tells you, oh, woman and child. I go here, it has to do with it's the maternity section. So it would speak for itself. When the head of state says we should all build Cameroon, so that 2035, by that time Cameroon becomes an emerging nation. Cameroon will become an emerging nation by copying what other countries have done. We'll become an emerging nation by injecting innovation. Aurora, ABM has won in 2011. He won the President of the Republic's first prize on enterprise innovation. It won the Commonwealth first prize on enterprise promotion. Aurora has not gone into a competition and not won the first prize. Now, other Cameroonian companies too are winning various prizes. So let us encourage innovation. But when there's innovation, let us consume the products. If others can come from outside and admire the things we are doing, why can't we also enjoy the things we are doing? If you go through the town here and you look at some of the residences, go to the cathedral, look at the other products produced there. We've been talking predominantly of fire clay. Let's go there to the cathedral and you see the stabilized and compressed earth block building that cathedral has. It's a 3-level floor building. Now you go there and you see what it looks like. It's a very impressive building, madam. I defy Cameroonians to tell me that building, look at the building in the face, and look at me in the face, and look at other Cameroonians in the face and say it's not a beautiful building. Hey, tell me that you had a series of those buildings in Yaoundé, in Douala, using local material, produced locally, and Cameroonians will not be proud of themselves. When we go to France, when we go to Britain, when we go to China, we're admiring their structures. Why are we admiring them? Because they are Chinese? But those Chinese build Chinese buildings. So why should we not, when we do our own things that are Cameroonian, why should we not be proud of them? Now, and when your brother does something, your sister does something which you like, admire it, talk about it, but also go in. If you want to challenge him, go in and do it. That's how competition comes in. Do your own. Do it better. And we'll thank God for it. But Cameroon will be rich and be prouder for it. And we can only do that by showcasing the things that we consume, we produce. I visited Ghana recently. And if Ghanaians were to come here and see some of the things we are doing in terms of local building materials, they will be proud for Cameroon. But they are doing their own thing. And they are happy for it. They're prouder for it. And we admire them. Let's admire ourselves.